I'm going to extend my hand forward, and I have 5 fingers out, and then I pull in 4, and then I extend flame down my hand, because these people have hurt my little friend, and I want his hair to burn off his head and die.
Okay. As you release the bolt, the anger in your eyes, kind of the fury coursing through the veins of your hand, the firebolt slams into the priest's head, and he falls back on the ground screaming, as you watch Ghost Rider style, his head just burst into flame and burn away until he falls back to his knees, and you can just see the darkened expression of a black skull into the fire before he falls. A wave of memories come flooding to you, and you feel your motions grow slow. You guys watch as Caleb kind of stares at this and just continues to stare at the guy burning in flames.
I am Xhorhas. I am the headmaster of the Halls of Erudition. This is my compatriot, Master Trent Ikathon. Trent Ikathon.
Trent Ikathon.
Sure it is.
And he turns and goes, it is a pleasure to meet you. I saw what you did today as well, and it was a very majestic display of skills, quite.
I am going to tell you the story of how I murdered my mother and father.
Oh.
When I was younger, I grew up in a small township outside of Rexentrum called Blumenthal. My mother's name was Una. My father's name was Leofric. Everyone was very excited about me when I was young. I was bright and confident. People used to say that I glided through life and everything just worked for me. And as I got older, it became clear that I had a knack for the arcane. And everyone talked about the Solstice Academy. Maybe I would go there someday. It's the way they do things at that academy. They don't take all comers. They look for the diamond in the rough, and you know, every couple of years they find one. But when I was a young man, adolescent really, they found 3 of us. Another boy and a girl, and
from your town?
Yeah, from Blumenthal. And we were accepted.
How old were you?
I was young.
What's young? Teenager?
Yeah. Anyway, we went there. I studied for a year. I worked so hard. It came easier to me than the other 2, but they were also very accomplished. There were others. There were other students from other parts of the empire there. And a little over a year of learning all they had to impart, I met a man named Trent Ikathon. He became our teacher. After a year of studying in the main school, Trent handpicked all 3 of us again, and we left the school proper and went with him to a home out in the countryside where he trained us. And it was a good time. We believed in the empire. We were going to keep it strong. He was cruel. He hurt us a lot. Made us go through extreme circumstances. But we got strong. I also fell in love, but that's another story.
One of the other students.
Yeah. So we rose through the ranks, and it was the Empire over all, and eventually he wanted to test our allegiance, and so strangers were brought in, traitors, disgusting people, traitors to this empire, and we killed them.
You just
What?
Students?
He made you
We wanted
executioners.
to be.
Caleb, that's deeply fucked up. You know that, right?
Yeah. So, a few months of this, of studying, of a little bit of torture, a little bit of murdering dissidents and traitors and deviants.
And then one day your parents were brought in as traitors. No.
We were ready to graduate. And the last test of our allegiance was... I'm getting ahead of myself. You know, I went home. I went on a trip home and visited my parents. And when I was there in the middle of the night, I awoke and overheard them talking and went to the stair and listened to them talk about revolution and tearing the empire down. And I felt disgraced and shame for my family, my mother and my father, who were so wonderful to me when I was a child and were so happy for me to go to the academy and believed in the empire so much. And I went back to the school, and when the three of us were summoned and told what was expected of us, I knew what had to be done. And we went to this other boy's home first, Eodwulf, and we stood by as he killed his parents, and we went to Astrid's house and had dinner with them, and she poisoned them. And then we went to my home and we grabbed a horse cart and in the middle of the night placed it against the door to the home, and I set it on fire.
And you had to do this to graduate. To prove your loyalty.
Well, yeah, but it didn't exactly go according to that plan, because as soon as I heard my mother and father screaming inside, I was so sure, until I wasn't, and I broke a bit.
Did you go in after them?
No, I went to an asylum for a number of years. I broke. And I don't remember so well what happened to me there. It was quite a number of years. And years later, a woman was there. And she, another patient, and she put hands on me. And she took the clouds away. She took it all away. And not just my madness, but the 5 fake memories that Ikathon put in my head of my parents.
Fake memories?
Wanting to, but yes. Yes.
Wait. That was a false memory? He tricked you?
Into hearing their talks against the Empire. Is that what it was?
Yes. Yes, but it doesn't matter because I still wanted to do it when I did it.
But you didn't know what you were doing.
So what?
You were brainwashed.
So what?
Programmed.
Doesn't matter. I should have. I'm a disgusting person. It doesn't matter. Anyway, all that gone, just like that. And I ran. Not right away. I pretended like nothing had changed for several weeks. She was stark raving mad 15 minutes later, herself, the woman who helped me. And I killed one of Trent's people there and took this, and I pull out the necklace. And this has been keeping me hidden for years.
You heard us talking to Trent. You know he wants Yasha. And you're the only person who knows the atrocities that this man, who utterly gave me the creeps, by the way, so I'm feeling a little bit validated in the fact that I think I, read him pretty well.
I don't think it's...
Anyway,
I'm just saying, you have a responsibility now.
which is
Keep this guy from hurting more people.
well, that's precisely why I went into this library.
You want to take down Trent? Is that what you're doing all this? You want to take down Trent?
Among other things.
What are you hoping to find?
Anybody can make lights. Anybody could send a message through a wire. I want to bend reality to my will. Because if I care for any of you at all, and that man in the northern end of this empire knows where any one of you are, he knows he can get to me. If he finds us, you all will just be thrown into the fire with me.
Listen. Word has found me of Trent. Finding a few of his proteges have a knack for early dunamancy. Blah blah, something. I am eager to look over their findings and perchance fold these skills into my own. Imagine something could be accomplished by the assembly should be further learned to command these. There's so many things I can't read because it's burned away existence. The dreams are already thrilling.
My name was Bren. Aldrich Ermandrud.
Did you die too?
Twinsies?
I have been using you all.
How?
I am from Rexentrum. I attended the Cerberus Academy. And I was plucked by one of the Cerberus Assembly with a few others and was being trained to do the kinds of things that I fear may have been done to.
Yes.
Yeah. And big plans for me that didn't pan out, and I went a little crazy. I'm worried about your husband. I know the things that they can do. And I start to unwrap one of my arms.
Arms?
Like the skin?
No, I have been wearing
Bandages.
bandages on my arm. And there are little, very faint scars all up the arm.
Cuts or burns?
They are scars, faint scars from cuts.
From cuts.
He used to put crystals in. He experimented on us, on the three of us.
What would they do? What crystals?
He was trying to strengthen us.
The Dunamis?
No. The first time I have ever seen that word was in your libraries. Just haphazardly scrawled into a book. No explanation. No, we everything was for Empire. We were being trained to serve our Empire. Above all else. He was a little mad himself. That is, he was mad.
I'm curious as to how much was for the Empire and how much the Empire was a veil for his own personal exploits.
He believed that the unwashed masses relied on their base instincts, and the highest calling was to rise above the muck and control the cattle for the good of all.
That sounds like a bad person.
We are going to rip the Cerberus Assembly down.
We don't need to control the situation. We just need to shine light on it.
That's what she wants. That's what we want.
Are you awake?
No response.
Wake up. You are in a bad place. I need you to talk to me.
You hear her clear her throat.
Go ahead. Your life's thread is very short right now. If you want to keep it from being clipped, I need you to talk to me.
You hear this reedy, pinched voice come out, the face still not turning, just going in Zemnian back to you.
It is what it is. This is what happens in war.
I don't recognize that voice, do I? Can you look at me?
Who asks? What do you want?
You hear me talking to you in this language, in this place. Do you want any aid or not? Look at me.
Magic can do many things. My life is already forfeit. Try what you want. You won't break me.
Astrid.
What did you say?
Is that Astrid?
The head perks up slightly.
What did you say?
You hurt me. Look me in the eye.
Who are you?
I don't have time for that. Lift your face. Your life hangs by a thread. What have you to lose? Look at me.
Look where I am. Who do I have to trust? Who is this who knows Astrid?
The hair is dark, not brown, and the face is unfamiliar to you. This is not Astrid. But the face is looking right at you with a smile.
We'll find them both. And kill them.
I've heard things about you, Bren. Welcome back.
I'm curious to know what you've heard of this boy. We'll see if you live long enough. So tell me. And walk away from the door and start to hyperventilate against the wall. I have just come from your presence. The Queen granted us the ability to visit the Scourger that you have there.
Right, I remember seeing you request this not long ago.
They are marked to die, correct?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Execution. I heard execution mentioned.
Right, they are to be executed, yes.
Is there a timetable on that?
Not entirely certain. I think they're to continue interrogation for at least a few more days before they deem them of no further interest. So?
I'm just hoping you could stick to that timeline. I know it's a foolish request, but you have some idea of my past, yeah?
A fraction, maybe?
I once was on a path to be one of these, and I thought there was a chance I might have known this one.
Are you telling me you were a Scourger?
No. I know about them a little bit.
Right.
I thought that this one, well, the chances were slim. I thought this one might be a person that I came up with in the Empire. Knew something about, and perhaps that could be useful for my dealings for your queen. And I was incorrect. Caught me off guard. Frankly, it would have caught me off guard if it was the individual I thought it was, possibly. But I would like to speak to them further, but I have an errand to run, and I just don't want to miss my window, and I need to get my thoughts in order, and sometimes I'm like this. I like to have order, and...
I am Bren, Aldrich Ermindred. Do you want to tell me your name?
It doesn't matter, does it?
Well, you will be dead in a few days, but I wouldn't say that it doesn't matter.
Do you have a way of getting me out, friend of the dynasty?
I don't know. But I do have something to offer. I'm curious. You've done a lot for the Assembly. I know that you've killed many enemies of the Empire, of the throne. I am very curious to know how it would affect you if you knew that some of those you robbed of their breath were innocent. Completely innocent. As loyal as you. What would that do to you?
At this point, you've just seen the hair in front of her face. The head kind of slightly moves up, and peeking through a sliver of the greasy dark hair, you can see one eye look up to you. We both trained under the same man. You know the answer to that. There are things bigger than innocence.
It doesn't haunt you at all to know that some of the deeds you've committed were predicated on lies.
I had my heart beaten out of me a long time ago. Now, it's about guiding history. Always has been.
I don't know how my brothers and sisters could stomach wearing that mantle of loyalty, knowing that it was woven so thoroughly from sin. And I am very sorry for you.
Good men don't conquer. They die and are forgotten. I'll die and be forgotten. But at least I know some of my deeds will have changed the course of history.
You've certainly learned your lessons by rote.
You still have a few to learn, too. I'm sure he'll find you. He'll be happy to finish what he couldn't. He doesn't like it when people don't do as he says.
I'm sure it galls him very much. Do you know, I think I'm a better friend to the Empire than a lot of you. You didn't have to have this. You shouldn't have had this.
It's a shame. So much potential and so little foresight.
Did you know Astrid and Eadwulf? Still alive?
I know them better than you do.
That's probably true. It was folly thinking I could change your mind, I know. Why would I?
What do you want? Why did you come here? None of this is surprising. What do you want from me?
Maybe if I could talk plainly with you and see 1 inch of change, I wouldn't believe we're all damned.
I hope this lesson has been very useful.
It has. You've made what I have to do very plain. I don't know if you want it or not, but I'll be staying around for the end. I consider you a sister still, even if you don't share the sentiment.
She leans against the chains a bit, kind of tensing, and you hear them kind of pull and rattle. Well, I've always been a little impatient. You see a whip of motion as one of the chains goes slack, and the arm arcs around towards you.
Counterspell.
You go to cast Counterspell. There's no spell. Raising their crossbows, fill her chest with bolts. At which point you watch as she begins to lift up off the ground from the chains, and you see Essek, his hand out of his cloak, lifting her off the ground. And you see her kind of like from blood pouring from the corners of her mouth, her eyes wide, as it kind of just looks to you.
I walk up to her and just stare into her eyes from 6 inches away. Oh. To Essek. Oh.
And you watch as her entire central torso crushes inward. The chains go taut, and you hear the metal bend as some of the chains begin to pull and break in places before she is dropped to the ground limply.
I'm going to look into Caleb's eyes as that was happening. I wanted to see what he was...
I am helping apply pressure.
There are 8 positions that rule the assembly, and then beneath them, somebody's, what's the right word? Deputized is not it. There are what are referred to as annexes, so they have a lot of responsibility, but there are 8 at the top, always.
Okay.
And when one of them is no longer for this world, they either bequeath it to one of their children, or it is handed off to someone deemed worthy.
The last figure to your immediate right is the old, jaundiced face of Master Trent Ikathon. Allura and the others kind of look about each other curiously. Trent nods with a smile, his eyes falling onto Caleb briefly.
Ooh. Oh no.
King Gwendolyn goes, "And the Assembly feels this course is viable." Trent steps forward. "We do, my liege. An optimistic view. And I shall allow it." As you guys begin to follow, Trent kind of saunters up alongside your group.
Stand in front of Caleb.
Yeah, I stand on the other side.
Impressive business, isn't it? You've come far from simple sellswords and pit fighters. Looking towards Yasha. Especially you, Bren. And then just continues walking, following after Ludinus.
I don't like him. Should I go kill him?
No,
You
probably
can.
not.
Just I don't like him. He rubs me the wrong way.
Maybe you should act on impulse.
I was making a bit of a joke, but...
Yeah.
You're not just going to, like, bring us here and then leave us here, right?
I don't think it would do any good in our situation. The Sanatorium has many uses. It is a place of recovery. It is a place of care taking to individuals who cannot take care of themselves, particularly those of skill sets that make them challenging to treat in more public regions. It's also a place of learning for those with learning challenges. And it is a place where we, the Assembly, can maintain some of our research without worrying about, how we say, political challenges.
Can people come and go as they wish, or are some people here, can they leave?
Those that are not admitted can leave. Those that are here by choice for the period in which they sign themselves to be here are to be maintained, but they themselves give consent to the Sanatorium to keep them. And those that are kept because they are a danger to themselves or others They should be kept until they are well.
During this whole walk and talk, Caleb wordlessly stares very pointedly at Nott and at Bo, listening to this conversation ahead of them.
How you feeling, Caleb? You okay?
Have you been here before? How long were you here before?
11 years.
What did you say?
11 years.
That is what I thought you said.
His previous poking about in the dynasty did not end well.
You misunderstand. I have not myself traveled to the dynasty.
No, you don't do that. You don't need to. You have help for that. Always help for that.
Not everyone is helpful. Anyway, good luck.
So terribly sorry. Your two associates. I forgot to ask their names.
My apologies. I am usually much more cordial than this. You caught me in the middle of my work mode. This is Aurelia, pointing to the halfling. Aurelia? She is one of my more recent students, recently graduated. And this is Aelwulf, who is a long-time associate and one of my favorited associates. I believe you two already know each other. And Aelwulf across the way is just... And you apparently have been following an intriguing path on your own as well. I knew there was something special about you. Anyway.
Wolf. It's good to see you again.
It's good to see you too. It's been some time. You look good.
Let's go.
My apologies for the tension. I was afraid, given the history, things would be a bit emotional. Trent is a challenging individual. He has much utility and has been a long-standing, important member of the Assembly, but he is challenging.
Have you ever sat in on any of his lessons?
I've not sat in on them specifically, but he does what he deems necessary. Not all things necessary are easy. I think we have more pressing matters. To press this individual right now would be a rabbit hole that would distract from something that is far more reaching, if you will. I can always deal with Trent after the fact.
Let us know when you do that, because I would like to help. If you need to get rid of him in any way.
There are far more useful ways of dealing with useful individuals than just getting rid of them.
I don't mean to pry, Caleb, but he was a teacher for you?
I'm from here, near here.
I gathered that much.
I studied here. Ikathon was one of many teachers, and then he became my main teacher. Private lessons. You've missed so much.
Yeah, I know.
Did he ever seem like nice to you, or was he always weird?
Sometimes. Sometimes, after being particularly harsh. he would apologize after.
That can be very confusing.
It's fucked up. Especially if you have no one else to go to.
You do know, like, a recent historical event in which the Cobalt Soul was responsible for rooting out illegal magical experimentations that a member of the Cerberus Assembly was accomplishing about 26 years ago by the name of Dr. Anna Ripley, who was then ousted from the Assembly and escaped punishment.
I'm sorry.
I want to give him.
Okay.
Anna Ripley was in that assembly.
Whoa.
My apologies. Delilah Briarwood.
Oh.
Delilah Briarwood
Was in the assembly?
Yeah, that's been mentioned at this day.
Yeah.
We're also
working on the animated series right now. My brain
A lot
crossed,
going on.
crossed
paths on that one.
I would love to get
Delilah
them a couple
Briarwood
days to
was
maybe
a member of
catch
the Assembly. And it was the Cobalt Soul that uncovered her necromantic experimentation.
Right. Yeah, it's like weird fucking vampire-y woman. I don't know.
That same spark that was seen in you could create a lot of sparks everywhere else. And she kind of reaches up and scratches a bit, and you can see there's like burn scars on the side of her neck there. But for your own good. We took care of you, and we brought you there. But we had to subdue you first. You were too dangerous to us and to yourself.
I was there a long time.
And we always hoped that you'd improve. And at times you did. And I mean, to be honest, even looking at you now and hearing some of the things that you're doing, I mean, you've defied all of our expectations. And if you feel like you've failed then, know that everyone's path goes at different paces. You've certainly proven now that you are in no way, shape, or failure.
What are you doing these days?
I'm doing a bit of tutelage. I'm doing what we were meant to do, which is keep our people safe.
Is it difficult for you?
At times. But I take pride in my work. And I've stopped some terrible things from happening. And I've seen some of the possibilities of what can be done with the right application of the right minds.
Had you heard that my friends and I were here?
And it was rather rapid chatter once Trent had notified us of the return of the lost pup.
You know what the Mighty Nine and I are leaving to do?
I've heard. And I'm very curious. It seems so not what I would have expected from you. So much more.
There was a woman, a patient, I think. This might be hard for me to convince you, but she helped me see things. What we did that night, I did fail. But I didn't fail the Empire. I failed myself and my mother and father. He lied to me. I know he lied. And if he would lie to me about that, it is hard for me to understand what he wouldn't lie about.
Bren, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. He kind of reaches out and kind of touches your cheek. She seems very genuinely mournful for your pain and your suffering. But there's also a hardness to it, and like this was a terrible thing that happened. This is more of a, I'm sorry you suffered as we've suffered, as many people have suffered for ever and ever. Life is suffering. And some things are necessary. That's kind of what you glean with a very high insight check.
Does she seem horny?
You're not there. To be gifted in a world filled with hardship like this is to do things we're not proud of. And to question the choices we make. And to regret the things we wish we could change. Do I agree with everything that I've been asked to do? No. Do I think about it? Do I lament? Do I see the faces of the people I've watched expire at my own hand? All the time. But I also know the reason that we get to sleep every night comfortable in bed or in a manor, as do the many families and children, just like we were, just like the families we once had, that don't have to make the choices we did. They still get to live happily and comfortably because the few, the chosen few, made the hard choice and do what few have the will to do.
I'm sorry. I will never forget what we were. And even now, all these years later, I can't shake it. I still care a great deal about you. At least girl I knew. But he has blinded you. You and Wolf. And all of his little helpers. And I mourn our childhood. And our souls.
She reaches out, puts her hand on your knee. I understand your anger. And as much as he's been our teacher, he's not infallible. He's just an old man with the right connections who will one day pass, like they all do.
You always were ambitious.
So are you, apparently, Bren. Like I said, I'm proud of you.
It's good to see you. I think I better go. Raise my hand slowly up and just touch the scar. Run my thumb down it. Too many scars.
I regret none of them. Except one.
What was that?
Except one.
Thank you for allowing me into your home. Maybe we will see each other again.
You're welcome anytime, Bren. I'd like to see more of you.
Yeah, maybe. I speak in common again. We'll see. My friends are depending on me.
Of course. But you should probably get to them.